Let's talk about making your launches a complete vibe from start to finish. I love launches. I love talking about launches. I love teaching my clients launch strategy, how to launch. Launched my signature program is coming back in September, and I'm so hyped up about it. And launches to me get to be a vibe. They get to be fun. They get to be exciting, and they don't have to be this energy draining thing. So this is what I'm going to be diving into on this week's episode of the Diaries of a Six-Figure podcast. And then next week, as we're continuing to go through, I'm going to take it deeper by actually giving you my launch content strategy that you get to steal. And I'm going to be talking about really being able to be willing to show up in your business, which ties into launches as well at the end of this month. So I have a plan for us this July. I already alluded to that in the last episode. We're going to go for it. We're going to get down to business, and I'm going to help you with some tools that can really support you in making things happen for you, bringing in more clients, bringing in more cash, bringing in what you want to bring in so you can achieve your goals. This is what we're going to do. So why make launches a vibe? Why make launches this fun, pleasurable experience? Well, I want to take you back to when I became a coach full-time, which was January 2020. I jumped into my business full-time, and I had all sorts of different plans for my business. In fact, I was going to be doing hotel management consulting. I was a hotel GM before, very successful, had built a big reputation for my ability to build business that way. And I was sought after as that. So I was going to do hotel management consulting. And above that, I was going to be very active as a leadership and executive coach in the hospitality, and specifically hospitality hotel field, where all of my contacts are that I have literally built over the last decade. Okay. And so March rolled around, and we all know what happened, right? Like the pandemic, everybody shut down and hotels shut down. And the last thing they were worried about is bringing in a consultant when they didn't even know if they could be open the next day. So my plans changed from really building my business in person, building my business through my connections that I had built and nurtured for a decade, to taking my business entirely online. And this is when I was started to be introduced to launching the way we know about launching, or maybe we feel or think we know about launching in the online coaching space. And what is a launch? Let's touch on that quickly, because I want to make sure we're all on the same page. A launch is essentially you introducing an offer, your program or a service or a product to your audience. It is introducing your offer, product, program, or service to your audience. That is what a launch is. That is what a launch is. Does a launch lead into selling and getting butts in seats? Hell yes, absolutely. But the launch itself is really about introducing something to your audience in a way that draws them in a way that is fun, in a way that builds hype, in a way that gets people interested and curious and wanting to know more, wanting to come into your world. And the way I like to align my launches and my content plan and everything really that I do with my launches and the way I teach it follows the client journey. And so the launch process takes us through the entire journey from a client becoming aware of them even having a problem, becoming aware of your product and how that can close the gap between where they are now and where they desire to be, and then ultimately positions your product, your program, your service as the solution, which is when they choose to come into your world, experience it, and ultimately the desired outcome here would be that they enjoy it so much and love it so much and have such a good time that they start talking about it and build brand loyalty. That's a very quick deep dive into client journey, okay? But here I was being introduced to launches, and the way I was introduced to them, it was this long lengthy, exhausting process with months and months of preparation to launch something, like months and months of preparation to launch something. It was this big, like almost it seemed like this big, like sales effort. Like there was something about it that just didn't really sit with me and land with me. And I was like, well, maybe that's just what it is, because the online space, the way I thought about it felt like the Wild West to me. It felt like the Wild West to me. Yes, through my hotel experience, we did a ton of marketing online. We did a ton of things to build brand loyalty. We did a ton of things to have people be attracted, because we built on the foundations of attraction marketing in a hospitality industry. But ultimately, it felt so different to be in my own business, to have my own coaching business. And so being introduced to these lavish, long, complicated processes was crazy. I went down this rabbit hole on creating really complex funnels, systems, processes. I was spending days and days and days, hours and weeks trying to implement all these things, building all these systems. And then as I was launching, I wasn't seeing any of the results. Half the time I was exhausted by the time I was actually starting to talk to my audience about the offer. And it became just this like yucky energy draining thing. And I knew at that point that there had to be a better way to launch. There had to be a better way to do that, a way where you really are able to embody the feeling, embody the vibe, have the experience, and lead yourself through a launch in the same energetic frequency and emotional alignment than you desire your client to feel when they're in your program and after your program. For you to be embodying what you're teaching through the way you show up through your launches, to make it fun, to make it pleasurable, to make a launch something that actually energizes you and that feels like this is the best freaking way ever. Like this is fun. Like I enjoy showing up this way. I enjoy talking about my offers every day. I enjoy welcoming people into my world every day. I enjoy taking myself through this process. Not, oh my God, like I'm launching and I'm exhausted and I'm 3 days in and I'm losing faith and it's not working and like this is all too much and like I spent all these months building it and now it's not working and rah, right? You get my drift. So is there a way to make it a vibe? To make it a vibe? And if there is, how do we do it? And this is what I figured out for myself by combining my experience of building luxury hospitality and building an 8-figure business and the knowledge that I had gained and the wisdom I had gained from having my own online coaching business and from the things that I invested $100,000. I've invested over $100,000 into learning tools and strategies for online business on top of like over a decade of business experience building an 8-figure business. So I took the philosophies of what we were doing in the hotel industry, in the hotel that I was working at, with our marketing, with the way we're attracting people in, with the client journey, with the focus on the experience, an excellent product, as well as a really something that becomes like a memorable way, like really creating an emotion, a feeling, and having this overarching vision that we hold for that experience so that clients can't help it but want to be coming into our world. Okay. I combined that with the knowledge that I had, and I came up with the vibe method. And so the vibe method is really a 4-step process that we take ourselves through when we prepare for launches. And the Let's Make Launches, How to Make Launches a Vibe checklist will take you through this and ask you a whole bunch of questions and things. So this will be super useful. So make sure you download it. It's a free resource from me to you. But here's what it is. The first thing is in the vibe method is your vision. Okay, V stands for vision. We gotta have the helicopter view. We gotta get the overview of what it is that we're actually trying to accomplish, the vibe, how we desire to feel in the program, how we want our clients to feel. Like, what are we actually offering? What are we actually doing, right? Like, we need clarity. We need the big picture. What problems are we solving, or what pains are we healing, or what goals are we helping people achieve through our program that we're offering, through our service that we're offering, right? Like, what is that? Where are our clients now? And where do we believe they will be after they have come into our world through purchasing this product, program, or service, right? So we need clarity. We need to look at, what are all these pieces? Who are we calling in, right? Like, these are some really, really critical pieces when it comes to launching. We need a vision. We need a helicopter view. The second thing is the invisible path, okay? Envision. So we have vision, and in our vibe, vision, and then the I stands for invisible path. What's the invisible path? This is your client journey. This is getting really clear for ourselves. How are we moving people through our business? How are we moving people deeper into taking another step? Like, what actions do we want them to take? And the reason why I'm calling this the invisible path is because your clients won't actually know that they're following the path, but you know. And because you know, you're very clear on communicating the next step you want them to take, to be able to move them through from your social media to possibly your sales page, to have a call with you, to joining your program, to experiencing the program, ultimately to buying again. Okay, so really this invisible path is you being clear on all the different places and all the different steps and all the different touch points that that client is going to have with your brand. This is what the invisible path is about. It gives you clarity, and clarity builds confidence, and clarity is also the number one indicator for high performance. So if you desire to achieve better results, if you desire to perform better, if you desire to get more shit done, having clarity is key. So vision, invisible path. What's the B stand for? Well, it's build it. Once we have the vision, once we're clear on the invisible path, now we got to build all the different pieces that we need to be able to actually deliver on our promise, to be able to lead people through these different stages, through the launch and these different stages of our client journey. So what are all the things that we need to build? Whether that is creating links for people to sign up, sales pages, landing pages, opt-in pages, a Facebook group if you're running things in Facebook, whether you're creating, if it's an online course, whether you're having to build the actual online course, record it and have it all ready to go. Like, what are all the pieces that we need in place? What automation do you want in place so that you don't have to do everything manually, right? So we build. Okay, so vision, invisible path, build it. And the last thing is E for experience. This is when we're really about being in the vibe, embodying your teaching, embodying those emotions, embodying what people are going to experience on the other side when they have closed the gap, how they are going to feel, experience life, their business, their health, their relationships, whatever it is that you help them do. This is about really bringing that emotional connection, bringing the energy to your launch that you are putting out there in the world. That energy is huge. This is the flow. This is the magnetism. This is the yumminess. This is the thing that makes people lean in and be like, wow, like, I didn't know about this. Wow. Like, yeah, I do experience this on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, I would love to feel this way. I would love to be able to communicate this way. I would love to be able to launch this way. I would love to be able to fill my programs with more ease. I would love to be able to introduce my clients to my offer in a way that feels fun and exciting and pleasurable. And they are so hyped up that they literally can't wait to hit buy. This is the embodiment, the energy, the vibe, the experience that we want to bring. And this has got to be in alignment with what it is for you. And we know what it is because you've already mapped out the vision. So The experience is the experience that you create both for your client, taking them through your launch, through introducing the offer, through hyping them up to be like, I want in, to also you, right? Your experience and the client's experience through the launch has to be aligned. Everybody's got to have a good time. Nobody likes to feel sold to. If you are showing up for your launch process and it feels heavy and hard, guess what? That's the energy you're going to give up. So in order to make your launch a vibe, to make it feel fun, exciting, pleasurable, and you're like, I am so lit and I'm calling in these clients, you have got to be able to create an experience through the way of you being in your business, the way of you being in this world and showing up that way and embodying it, because we can't fake this. This is really key. And so this is what the vibe method is all about. This is how we make launches a vibe. And when I started to do that, it changed the game for me. I started to fill more spots in free events. I started to fill more spots in my programs and offers. I started to really change the way I was doing things, and it changed my business. And it's a huge part of what helped me build a six-figure business. And now launching is one of the main things that I help my clients with. And I have some really cool things coming up. Launch is coming back. As I mentioned, there's a pre-sale that is open right now. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled on all these things. I'll add the link as well to the launch program. But the main thing that I want to give you this week is really this free checklist, how to make your launch as a vibe checklist, because it is a mad resource. Okay. But when we have this, when we have a strategy for our launches, it really changes, because we're not just throwing the spaghetti at the wall, right? Remember what I spoke about last week about being a CEO. This is no different. Implementing this vibe launch method into your business is no different than putting this bowl of spaghetti down and saying, I don't need to throw spaghetti at the wall anymore, because I have a strategy and I have a plan. And when I show up this way, in that energy, with that excitement, building that much hype, creating that much awareness, really taking people through this process of showing them how they can get from where they are now to where they really want to be, and position my product, my program, or my service as that solution through the launch process in alignment with the client journey, which is studied consumer behavior. This isn't something made up. This works. This works because we're tapping into psychological behavior of our people, of our clients, because we start to understand how to break down the walls, how to take them on a journey, how to take them on a trip. Like I like to always say, like, launching is literally like taking people on this journey, this unforgettable journey to a new destination that they can't wait to go to. So imagine you take your people through this launch, you're introducing your offer in a way that makes people feel like they're going onto a vacation and they can't wait to go on that vacation. Like, do you know what it feels like to book a trip? When was the last time you booked a trip and you research and you get all excited and then you're like, oh yeah, and then you book your flights and you're like, oh my God. And then when you're on the journey, you have this excitement. You're like, oh my God, it's happening. I'm on the plane, bags dropped off, going to the gate, get that done with, right? Board the plane. Maybe you have a glass of wine while you're flying. Maybe you have a cup of tea, whatever your jam is, and you arrive at the destination and ultimately come to a beautiful hotel and you're like, wow, this is incredible. And I can't wait to share with the world where I'm at, with the world, with what's happening, right? Like, this is how I think about launching. This is the essence of the vibe methodology. So go ahead, download the How to Make Launches a Vibe checklist. And next week, in next week's episode, I'm going to be diving into for you to steal my launch content plan. So we're going to get really down to business next time. And I cannot wait. If this resonated with you, if you're like hyped up, if you're like, I want to make launches a vibe, Make sure you download that checklist. Make sure you share it on your socials. We want more people to know about this, because the more people know how to properly launch their programs and products without it being this big overwhelming thing, the more successful coaches we have, the more successful entrepreneurs we have, the more of us are able to fulfill our dreams. So sharing is caring. I love you so much, and I cannot wait to dive into next week with you. Have an epic week, and I will chat with you soon. Peace.